She walked onto the stage in a simple white dress, her hands trembling as she gripped the microphone stand. The studio lights were blinding, but not as blinding as the tears already welling in her eyes before she had sung a single note. The audience fell silent, sensing that this was not going to be just another audition. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe and join our family as we share stories that will touch your heart and remind you why you believe in miracles. Her name is Elena Martinez, and she is 23 years old. But standing there under the bright lights, she looked much younger, smaller, more fragile than anyone expected a Golden Buzzer contender to look. The judges exchanged glances, unsure of what was about to happen. One of them, a woman with kind eyes named Sarah, leaned forward and asked gently if she was okay. Elena nodded, but a single tear escaped and rolled down her cheek, catching the light like a tiny diamond falling to the floor. She explained that she had come a long way to be here, all the way from a small town in Texas that nobody had ever heard of. She said she had been singing since she was 4 years old, taught by her grandmother who had passed away just 3 months ago. The audience let out a collective sigh of sympathy. But Elena held up her hand and said that was not why she was crying. She was crying because she had almost not come at all. 3 weeks before the audition, she had been in a car accident. She pulled up the sleeve of her dress to reveal a long scar running from her wrist to her elbow. The audience gasped. She had been told by doctors that she might never sing again, not because of damage to her voice, but because of the trauma, the fear, the way her body now shook every time she tried to take a deep breath. Her lung had been bruised, and every note she tried to sing at home came out weak and broken. She had spent the last 3 weeks in her tiny apartment, sitting on the bathroom floor, crying and trying to hit notes that used to come so easily. Her neighbor, an elderly man named Mr. Henderson who had lost his wife last year, would knock on her wall every morning to check if she was still alive. One day, he left a note under her door. It said simply, "Your grandmother did not teach you to sing so you could hide in a bathroom. She taught you to sing so the world could feel something." That note was in her pocket right now, crumpled and worn from being read 100 times. She pulled it out and placed it on the floor beside her, a small piece of paper that held more weight than any trophy ever could. The judges asked her what she was going to sing. She said it was a song her grandmother wrote for her when she was a little girl, a song that had never been heard by anyone else. It was called The Tears Behind the Talent. She had written the title down on a piece of paper and given it to the producers earlier, never imagining that it would become the name of her story. She closed her eyes, and for a moment, the studio was completely silent. Then she opened her mouth and began to sing. Her voice was not perfect at first. It cracked on the opening note, and a few people in the audience shifted uncomfortably. But then something shifted. She took a breath, a deep one that must have hurt, and the next note came out clear and strong, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. She sang about a little girl who lost her mother young and was raised by a grandmother with calloused hands and a voice like honey. She sang about learning that talent is not something you were born with, it is something you cry for, something you bleed for, something you fight for when everything inside you wants to give up. Halfway through the song, the camera captured a woman in the front row, wiping her eyes, then a man next to her, then an entire row of people reaching for tissues. Elena kept singing, her eyes still closed, tears streaming freely down her face now, but her voice never wavered. It grew stronger with every line, as if the tears themselves were fueling her, giving her power she did not know she had. Then came the twist that nobody saw coming. In the middle of the song, she changed the lyrics. She started singing about a letter she had found in her grandmother's things after she passed, a letter her grandmother had written but never sent. It was addressed to Elena's mother, the daughter who had run away when Elena was just a baby. In the letter, her grandmother apologized for not being enough, for not keeping her daughter safe, and begged her to come home. But tucked inside the letter was a photograph of Elena's mother holding a baby that was not Elena. A baby girl with dark hair and dark eyes, born just last year. Elena had a sister she never knew about. Her voice cracked again, but this time it was not from fear or injury. It was from the weight of discovery, from the realization that her story was bigger than she ever imagined. She opened her eyes and looked directly at the camera, at the millions of people watching at home, and sang the final note with a power that shook the speakers. The song ended. The silence that followed was deafening. Then the audience rose to their feet, not slowly, but all at once, like a wave crashing against the shore. The judges were standing too, some with their hands over their mouths, others openly weeping. The head judge, a man known for his stoic demeanor and harsh critiques, walked around the table and stepped onto the stage. He approached Elena, took her trembling hands in his, and looked her in the eyes. He did not say a word. He simply nodded, walked back to his seat, and without hesitation, slammed his hand down on the golden buzzer. Golden confetti exploded from the ceiling, raining down on Elena like a miracle made visible. She fell to her knees, overwhelmed, as the audience cheered and cried and screamed all at once. The other judges rushed to the stage to embrace her, but she was not looking at them. She was looking up at the confetti, at the light, at the sky beyond the studio lights, whispering something that the microphones barely caught. She was whispering thank you to her grandmother, and to a sister she had never met, and to a mother who might be watching somewhere, and to every tear that had ever fallen from her eyes and turned into something beautiful. As the confetti settled and the applause finally began to fade, Elena stood up, wiped her face, and smiled for the first time all night. It was a smile that reached her eyes, a smile that said she had found something she did not even know she was looking for. Before she left the stage, she turned to the camera one last time and asked the question that would echo across the country. From which part of the country are you watching this video tonight? I would love to know where all of you are, because tonight, I feel like I am home, wherever home may be.